This is Solo in the Shop. On today's episode, I talk about creativity and what to do when you just can't come up with your own style, your own design. Whether you are a hobbyist, weekend warrior, making commissions for friends and family, or already a full-time maker, if you are solo in your shop, this is the show for you. I'm Ronald Lowe's, the host of Solo in the Shop, a woodworking podcast discussing everything from current projects, tools and techniques, decisions around running a small business, and much more. So if you frequently find yourself alone and covered in sawdust, follow my journey and we can be solo in the shop together. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to go to a talk by Paul Jasper online. He's Copper Pig Fine Woodworking, and he lives close by, and I saw he was giving a talk in Lexington, Massachusetts. So I signed up and went to that. It was a talk about creativity and finding your own voice and developing your own style. And it's a natural progression from copying someone's work, copying pieces that you've seen, maybe downloading someone's plans off the internet and building something that someone else has designed, to working towards designing your own pieces, your own objects, creating objects that might be everyday items, but definitely have your flair, your signature style. And it takes years to develop your own signature style. And when I think about creativity, for me, I get a lot of paralysis. I get a lot of blank page syndrome where I just feel stifled. I feel like maybe I don't have the creativity to create something or to design something unique, something different, something personal. And so I started with building a list of things to do when I feel creatively stifled. And from other podcasts, one of the things that I saw was going for a walk in the woods or just taking a hike, things like that. And that kind of falls into the category of just taking a break and stepping away, do something different, clear your mind, and come back hopefully with a fresh perspective. And it may take an hour, it may take 4 hours, it may take 2 days, but trying to get out of your own way and take a break and let your subconscious kind of chew on the design in the background, I find to be a very helpful step. And usually what happens is I'll either be in the shower or I'll be asleep and something will just come to me. And that is unpredictable, but it's a pretty reliable mechanism. So I try not to stress about it and just let the process happen. So that's one thing, is just step away. You know, as they say, put it in a drawer, leave it, come back and look at it. And hopefully just taking that break will give you a new perspective. Changing your environment can definitely help also. I find that I feel less creative as my shop gets more and more cluttered. So as I have multiple projects going on, or I'm going really fast and the dust is piling up and the offcuts are piling up and the tools aren't getting put where they belong, it stresses me out and I don't feel as free, if that makes any sense. And changing the environment by cleaning up, putting things where they go. And sometimes I have a large workbench in my shop that's on casters. And one of the things I like to do is to just roll that into a different position in the shop. And it really changes the flow of the whole shop. It mixes it up enough that it just feels like more things are possible. So changing up my environment is another way to stimulate my mind and to help me think differently about projects. And it can be as simple as rearranging the workbenches, or it could be a real cleanup and organization, and kind of combining that, taking a break with rearranging, changing the workspace, changing the environment. A big one that I like is to experiment or play with different ideas. And that can be drawing. I had the opportunity to take a drawing class for woodworkers from Matt Kenny, and he is by far known for being a builder. He builds boxes, he builds furniture, but his drawing is outstanding. And he showed some of his early work, not outstanding, but with repetition and iteration over the years, he's gotten better and better. And now he has just an incredible ability to draw the furniture that he wants to build. And the point of his drawing class was to say, when you're looking for ideas, draw something simple that is not what you are going to build. Let's say it's a nightstand. You draw a nightstand. We know what a nightstand looks like. And then you change one element of that nightstand and you draw it again. And then you draw it again and again, each time changing an element, maybe revert an element, change something else, and it can take you in a whole different direction. And that creates all these options. And then you start to find the style or the elements that you like and combine those. But the key is to just start and iterate and experiment with the design. In other podcasts that I've listened to, especially about design, they frequently stress that you should design without limiting yourself by your ability. So knowing what you can and can't build, what your skill sets are and what you're capable of building should not stifle your design, should not limit you in any way. Design as if someone else is going to be building it or a machine is going to build it. Don't worry about how it's going to get built. Try to design iterating without restraint, without being constrained by practicality. That should free you to come up with lots of creative solutions to the object you're trying to design. Another strategy for fostering creativity is using other people. And that's either in the form of getting feedback from someone else. I trust my wife's eye for design like no one else's. So when I'm stuck, if I'm thinking about how something could look, I love running it past her. And she's not limiting her opinion to what I have built in the past or with what I feel comfortable with. So she will look at it and say, why don't you try this? Do something different. And having a fresh set of eyes is invaluable. The other way you can use a second person is for collaboration. And I have one collaboration effort underway. It really is just at the level of we've agreed to collaborate, but nothing has come out of it. We don't even know what we want to make yet. But there is an artist that I want to work with, and she wants to work with me. We're going to figure out, hopefully this month, what we want to build and start designing something, start doing those drawings and iterating and coming up with something innovative and unique to blend our two media and our two styles and come up with something really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, it's a great way to break through a blank page or a creative crisis. The last way to conquer a creative block is to just seek inspiration intentionally. And that's whether you're looking at other artists or designers, other woodworkers, going to an art gallery, looking at online portfolios, going through design magazines. There are tons of things where you can just disconnect from what you're trying to do and start looking around you. Whether it's architecture, nature, or art, there are plenty of resources to find inspiration. There's a kind of a hierarchy of sources when I think, okay, I need ideas and I need inspiration. Pinterest is a huge one. That's kind of what Pinterest is all about, is finding beautiful objects. And whether it's woodworking or furniture or interior design, small objects, housewares, whatever it is that you're looking for, Pinterest has 1,000 people who have boards dedicated to just the thing. And looking through those, you can kind of find things that catch your eye or find a combination of things that catches your eye and put those together to make something unique. Pinterest, Instagram, a little less so, but Pinterest, I would say, is probably the go-to for design inspiration. Obviously, websites and magazines, like I have a subscription to Architectural Digest, and when that comes, I flip through it and I dog-ear the pages that have tables that I would love to build. And there are some that have pages with tables and other furniture that are probably beyond me right now. But if I really like them, I kind of put it in the hope chest. There are things that I would love to build when my skill gets to the level that would make that possible. But there's Dwell, there's Elle Decor, and there's tons of magazines and websites dedicated to furniture and interior design. Just start browsing, see what catches your eye. You can find inspiration looking at furniture from different periods in history. Mid-century modern is one of my favorites, but I also like Art Deco, Shaker. I don't know that I have the hand skill right now for, Queen Anne style legs, but someday I would love to. And recreating something that has a historical design background doesn't mean that you aren't being creative. It's learning a technique that has been done and then you put your own stamp on it. So there's value in creating things that are inspired by pieces that have already been done. I feel like worrying about copying, especially if you're solo in your shop, you're not going to copy. It's going to still be yours because your technique is going to be different than theirs. It would be fantastic if your ability was at the level that you're making something that is exactly the same as, a Stickley, but chances are it's going to be imperfect and it's going to be yours and you're going to learn a ton from doing it. There's a bunch of woodworking blogs and forums and, Lumberjacks Woodworking Network and things like that, where you can go to learn different techniques and find design inspiration. And I imagine that most states, and probably some states have more than one, have some kind of woodworking guild that will be very cheap to join and probably have publications, whether they're online or paper, where you can see different techniques and designs and get inspiration from woodworkers who are actually close to you. And I know with my guild, we have small groups that get together at different people's shops to cover different topics. In fact, I hosted one about 2 months ago, and I had a bunch of woodworkers come to my shop to do a hands-on session with my Shaper Origin. And it's something that, for them, for the woodworkers who've never used a shaper, it was a great chance to try something new and kind of spark that curiosity about what would be possible if they had one. And it was a very interesting evening. And someday I should do a whole another episode just about that night and the things that we learned. But it was a great way to connect with other woodworkers and talk about design and techniques. And then obviously the biggest source of inspiration is nature. Getting outside, looking at patterns in nature, whether it's leaves or trees or the flow of a river or a pile of rocks or just the way a hill rolls. There are things in nature that will just naturally be attractive and appeal to your eye. And if you can somehow capture that and think about that flow and that curve and incorporate those natural elements in a design, it's going to be a very pleasing process and a very quick way to spark your creativity. Those are my thoughts on creativity and getting past a creative block, sparking your own creativity and innovation. I hope that if you get stuck, you'll refer to these ideas and come up with something amazing. That's what I have for you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to me at SoloInTheShop@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you got value from it and would like to help the show grow, I'd appreciate a review wherever you listen. Be sure to check the show notes for links to my socials or any extra stuff we discussed today. Until next time, stay safe in your shop, and we'll talk again soon.